Hopefully we should be live. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey Jess. Hey Clara. Hey Jorge.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hey. Jess.
This is I feel like I've been waiting for this day for not the whole of my life, but for most of my life. And it is, we're here to talk about ABBA Voyage. The new album was released today, midnight this morning. I was kind of streaming it on Spotify because I couldn't wait. And I know there's been so many fan reactions all over the web, all over Facebook, all over social media. We've had newspaper reviews, everything. It just feels like so much has happened, and we haven't even seen the day through yet. But guys, we're going to be talking about ABBA's new album, and how strange is it to be saying that?
Right, isn't it? It's like we didn't see this coming before. Like if we have to think about where we were last year, did we know that an ABBA album was coming? Did we know that we would have 10 brand new songs? No, right?
No way.
No, well, we have got Jorge with us today, all the way from the USA, who is like, Jorge, you're a lifelong ABBA fan, really, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, I can see you've got your Voyage t-shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about your ABBA journey.
My ABBA journey is, well, it's kind of quite by coincidence and magical. We lived in Miami in 1976 to 1978 with my family. And in the complex that we lived, in the building that we lived, there was this girl that I was only 8, and there was this girl that was around 15, and she used to play this song over and over and over and over at the pool. And I thought it was the most beautiful song I had ever heard, but I didn't know who it was. I didn't pay attention. I didn't buy music at the time. I just knew it was the most beautiful song I ever heard. And it stayed with me. And then in 79, fast forward 3 years, I heard Chiquitita in Guatemala while living in Guatemala. And I, again, had no idea who sang it. I just thought, wow, what a beautiful song. This is the most beautiful song I ever heard. Before ABBA, before my sisters and my family used to play the Beatles, Carpenters, and my mother used to play waltzes and classical music. So I think ABBA kind of nailed it for me in my heart and my soul. I mean, it just was like the perfect combination of classical influences and Italian influences. And, the music was so perfect for me. Anyway, so when I heard Chiquitita, I went to buy the album at this fair that they had where they were selling music, and they didn't have it. So fast forward a little bit more, and I saw these videos on TV that were these 4 people that I thought were amazing. I fell in love with the girls. I thought the guys were cool. And again, I had no idea who they were. When I finally got the album, it was Voulez-Vous. I went back to a record store, and I sang what I thought was Voulez-Vous. I didn't know it was Voulez-Vous. I didn't speak French. I was like, Voulez-Vous. I sang to the guy, oh, you mean Voulez-Vous? So he gave me the album, and on that album was Chiquitita. And I was like, oh my God, that's the same, that song, the most beautiful song I ever heard. And then that other one that I heard in 77 is my other favorite song of my life, but who knows? It sounds kind of like them. And then about Greatest Hits Volume 2, and Dancing Queen was there. So it was I was like, this group is like crazy. I mean, I had no idea who they were. 2 times they stole my heart without me knowing who they were. And then that's how I fell in love with them.
They're a soundtrack to so many people's lives. And it's what I've really loved about kind of this reunion is that people have been sharing their stories all over the internet about, how they fell in love with ABBA. We've done some other ABBA videos, and people have been telling us about how a particular ABBA song has got them through really tough periods, people, suffering loss. It's just amazing. It's amazing to hear people's stories. And guys, if you are joining us live, please do let us know your ABBA stories in the live chat. Underneath, click live chat, and you can contribute, and we'll bring your comments up on screen. We're just going to say hello to, we've got Morton V in the house.
Hi.
Hey, Morton. We've got DJ Parody, Sarah O'Halloran, and you're saying it was worth the 40-year wait, because we will be talking about that as well. It's the biggest gap between albums I've ever known, and was it worth the wait? We'll see. Hey, Tommy, how you doing? We have also got MJ Wonderland. Good morning. Let us know where you're from.
Good morning.
It's nighttime for me. I'm here in the UK. So we would love to know where you're joining us from. ABBA fans all around the world. So who knows? But Jess and Clara, or Jess, let's come to you because I know that you've always had a love for ABBA.
Oh yeah, I mean, my journey began as a teenager. I think it was around 2004, which was, I think, the 30th anniversary of them winning Eurovision. And they released an ABBA Gold CD, which I decided to buy. And then they had loads of TV programs in the UK, like top 10 best ABBA songs and the story of ABBA. So I was watching these, hearing these songs, and realizing that I actually liked quite a lot of them. So then over the next couple of years, I used to go into my local HMV, which I don't think exists anymore. And I used to buy all of their like old albums and listen to all their songs. And here we are now with a brand new ABBA album that I'm loving just as much as the others.
Oh, and Clara, any favourite ABBA tracks of yours?
Any favorite of songs? Oh, I love Chiquitita and Fernando. They're just so angelical, and like they transport you to like another realm of fantasy. I just love how the music transports you, and they do a really good job with that.
Chiquitita is one of my favourites as well, but I'm sure people are going to ask us to name our favourite ABBA songs of all time. But anyway, guys, we had the new album. So for those of you that maybe don't know a lot about ABBA, well, who can't know a lot about ABBA? But about the more recent ABBA news is a couple of months ago, there was a big announcement. There's going to be this digital tour featuring avatars, digital versions of the 4 ABBA members. They've been working towards it for a few years. We got a couple of new songs in September. I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down, but we were also promised a new album, and today was the release date. And we've all had a listen, and I think we're all itching to talk to you. But I want to know, guys, first of all, how did you feel when you were pressing play for the first time?
Well, I was nervous. You know, it was like seeing a relative that you haven't seen for a very, very long time, and then you don't know what to expect, really, even if you know them very well. And when I started hearing, you know, I had already heard I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down and Just an Ocean, which I loved, but I didn't know what to expect from the album. And when I heard the first one, which is When You Dance With Me, I couldn't believe the sound, the joy. I mean, that song has so much happiness in it. And typical ABBA happiness with that Irishy, in this case, Irishy feel. It was beautiful, and I was very moved. And as I went through the album, I was amazed because of the variety, and I could hear Benny Andersson's genius in every song. It was like listening to a testament of his musical life journey. That's how I would describe it, because every song felt like, some felt very ABBA, some felt very Benny Andersson Orchestra, which is his folk band. So one felt very Christina from Duemala, which is his masterpiece, masterpiece musical. One reminded me of Chess, and so on. So I felt like it was him enjoying himself, and you know, of course, the 3 other members joining, and just there's a joy in this album that I can't explain yet because it's so brand new to me, but I feel like they had a good time. You can tell. They say that, you know, they say that when they've been interviewed, but I feel it. I felt it in the album. They just let go. They had fun, and they had nothing to prove except, you know, here we are ABBA, and this is what we would like to play for you. That's kind of how I see the album.
Yes, I felt the same way. It's like they reunited just to have a good time and give us more of what we were so hungry for, and in a way that it felt like they never left, but they also felt like they added some new elements here and there, and they made like inside jokes with like some beats that would remind you to songs they already released and they are so dear to our hearts. So I think overall it was worth the wait. It was like a reunion with a relative I love. I really love how you put it, Jorge.
And Jess, we were counting down last night because we were messaging. Jess is gone. Because we were messaging, counting down to midnight for the album release because we were both itching to hear it. And Jorge, I felt exactly the same as you. I was I was kind of, it's hard to explain your feelings, but I was feeling kind of nervous. And part of me almost didn't want to press play. In a really weird way. I was like, I didn't even press play at midnight. I waited a couple of minutes because I thought, I don't know. I was just scared about what I would hear and how it would make me feel. But it was so worth it. I've had the album on repeat all day. I've been literally forcing people that aren't even ABBA fans to listen to my favourite songs. But yeah, for me, it was just magical. But I know we're going to talk about the tracks some more. And obviously the album opens with I Still Have Faith in You, which feels like an old song now because it's been around for a couple of months. But Jess, I'm going to come to you first on I Still Have Faith in You.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs from the album, and I just think overall it's a very beautiful and lovely sounding song. It's very sort of easy to listen to, and then you've got, you know, the girls' amazing vocals on top, almost kind of like sounding quite angelic in some parts, and it just seems like that classic ABBA ballad, something like Chiquitita or Fernando, and it was a wonderful comeback song, in my opinion. It wasn't too overdone. It wasn't too cheesy or camp like some of their older stuff has been. It was just a nice, slow, gentle reintroduction to ABBA 40 years later. So I love the song, yes.
Yeah, it's Jorge. I don't know if you've got any earphones. I think there might be an echo coming from your. Might be from you. But Clara, tell us about I Still Have Faith in You, because obviously you heard the song a couple of months ago when it was released, just like we all did. The opening to this album.
Yeah, first of all, I was surprised that it lasted 5 minutes, but I really like that it's so long, because for me, like the first minutes, it's a really nice ballad, pleasant to the ears, very charming, and you think it's going to stay like that for a very long time. But then the electric guitar comes in and it lifts it up, and I was not expecting that, and I think it's so nicely done, and it does lift the song, and the atmosphere and the vibe changes, and I think that's a masterpiece, and it's great.
Yeah, it's I mean, it is a lot. It's one of ABBA's longest recordings, I think. Jorge can pretty sure it's over 5 minutes and is one of their longest. But for me, I still don't want it to stop. I want it to go on for another 5 minutes because the song builds so beautifully. But it's not just the music, actually, which is stunning for me, but it's the lyrics and what the song means. And if you think of any group that's doing a big reunion, but a group as big as ABBA, coming back with a song that is so personal to their journey and their story, not only for them, but also for their fans. But I don't feel that this was for the fans, this song. I feel that this song was for them. And that's what I think is so beautiful about it. And you can understand why the album would open with a song, because, you know, it's a song about aging, you know, it's a song about it's a song about relying on each other. It's a song about you know, the memories that you have with people, and it's a song about believing in yourself. And I think there was probably a lot of that before you could even convince maybe Agneta and Frida from the group to get involved in this project. But come on, Jorge, I would love to know your first reaction when you first heard that song.
So I saw it on the live stream on YouTube. I did not know what to expect, of course, with that live stream. I had no idea. People were saying there was going to be an album, but I didn't really believe it. You know, I thought, no, you know, there's going to be 2 songs. They said that there's going to be 2 songs, and I didn't know it was coming when the moment they show this video of them, you know, in concert. They're about to go out in concert, and I thought, oh, they're just going to continue with the documentary of what ABBA has been. And all of a sudden, I hear Frida's voice, and I started crying. I still get emotional thinking about it. I mean, her voice is it was so perfect and expressive and beautiful. And I was kind of shocked that it was Frida, because I don't know why in my head I had felt that song was going to be both of them singing together, the whole thing. And when I heard her, it meant a lot. It could have been Agneta, and it would have meant a lot as well. It just felt really good. And, you know, from Agneta, we've had 2 albums, you know, in the 2000s. We had one in 2004 and 2013. But from Frida, I had not really heard her voice except for a couple of songs since 1996. So it felt like ABBA instantly. And then when I heard that chorus, like you, Clara, were saying, I mean, it's angelic. It's like anthemic. It was so beautiful. I was very moved, and I'm very happy.
I mean, one of the things that I've always been nervous about was whether it would still have that ABBA sound. And one of the things that I've come to realize with the release of this album, that the ABBA sound is actually those two voices, really. And I think whatever style of song, whatever kind of backing track it has, you've got those two voices. That's your ABBA sound. And I think the problem is people try and pigeonhole the ABBA sound to a particular style of song. Whereas for me, it's not. You know, they can do many different styles, and they've shown that with the variety that we get on this album. I'm just going to go to the live chat. I have to say, Courtney Hales, let us know where you're from. Thank you so much for your comments. Would love to know what your favourite song is on the album. We've also got Milo Richie. Hello to you, Milo. Thank you so much for joining. And you want to know what song on the album surprised us the most. So we'll do a quick go round. Who can I put on the spot first? Because I haven't even got an answer to this.
I have an answer.
Go on, Clara.
So no doubt about it was the most surprising thing, because it has such a distinctive 80s sound, and that's like rock incorporated in it, but it's mashed with the very clear sounds of other instruments. So for me, it was a very interesting thing to see how ABBA would take classic rock.
Yes.
Any surprise on the album for you, Jorge?
I think the biggest surprise was Keep an Eye on Them, because I had seen a snippet of the lyrics and it sounded so serious. And then when I heard the song, it's amazing with all that synth and all that. It's almost, there are parts where are almost Depeche Mode-ish. Incredible for ABBA, different for ABBA, yet ABBA. And so it was a shock that it had not a shock, because ABBA has always on happy, sad, happy melody, sad lyric, and so on. But I didn't expect that. I didn't expect. It feels very new, even though it feels very ABBA. And there's a slight bitter to me, like a slight bitter, which goes with the lyric. When I heard it more times, I realized, there's a slight, which is very appropriate for the lyric, but it's very hidden in there. I'm amazed by that song.
Yeah, and a great ending, which we'll talk about a bit later on. We're going to move on to the second song now. I'm going to say straight away that this has been the song that I've played the most on the album, and it is When You Danced With Me. Who's going to take this one first? Jess?
I love this song. Very kind of upbeat and more poppy sounding, which is typically what I go for anyway. But yeah, it's just this very catchy, very ABBA-esque pop song with, the ladies' vocals on point. Yeah, don't really know what else to say other than it's great and I love it.
Jorge, your thoughts on this one?
And that was also a surprise, my second surprise, because of the Irish feel and the happiness that it almost makes you want to dance, but I wouldn't know how to dance that. but it's
like a jolly bar kind of dance.
Yeah, like you just want to, So I was kind of amazed at the whole style of it. It was unique.
It's a foot tapper of a song. And as soon as it came on, my foot was going like this. And when kind of that beat or that bass bit kicks in, for me it's just catchy as hell. And the melody because people have been saying Irish, and obviously the lyrics are about Kilkenny, which is in Ireland, but I heard Swedish folk music in that song. And initially, before I listened to the lyrics properly, because I'm one of those people, I'll tend to listen to the melody before I delve deeper into the lyrics, and I didn't even hear the Irish connection. I was just hearing like Swedish folk, and I was like, God, I really love this. And then on second listen to that song, just couldn't get enough of it, and I've literally had it on repeat at times today. For me, that's your opener to the album. And I think had you not had songs such as I Still Have Faith in You, which is obviously kind of talking about the journey they've been on and now the journey that they're going on. So it makes sense to have that song at the start of the album. But had we not had that song, this would have been the perfect opener, I think, for the album. It would just be like, pow, we're back. This is ABBA. We're having fun. And it would really, and I think they would prefer it as the opener as well. But I think logically they would have to have, I still have faith in you. But yeah, I think it's my, one of my favorites on the album. But Clara.
It's a total mood setter. Maybe if you say that they should have opened with this, I can actually see it like in shows. This would set the tone, get everyone happy, get everyone in the mood. They would have won the crowd. They always win the crowd, but this would be like the perfect song to win the crowd over.
Yeah. And I'd be interested. We've got a poll going on our website, guys. So if you're watching this live or if you're watching it back later, make sure you go to our website, Eurovoxx.tv, and vote for your favourite songs from the album, because we're really interested to see what songs everyone is loving. So make sure you go and do that at some point tonight or today. But we're going to move on to the other song that made me a little bit nervous, which was the Christmas song that we were promised in September, and it's a beautiful song called Little Things. Clara, I'm going to come to you again, your thoughts on this one, because I don't feel it's receiving as much love as maybe it should.
What I like about this song is that it sort of reminds me to Sound of Music. These are a few of my favorite things, in the way that it starts like counting those little things that makes things so charming. And it got me instantly thinking of, these are a few of my favorite things.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never got that connect, but now you say it, I get it.
I get it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I like it. It's like it's like ABBA went, I know you guys are expecting a Christmas song, like, here you go. So this was a crowd's pleaser, I think.
Go on, Jess.
I absolutely adore this song. I think it's beautiful, and I love how it kind of tells a story in the lyrics, and it's almost as if you can kind of imagine like a Christmas scene in your head, family and children around the fire, and it would make the perfect soundtrack to like a Christmas movie or like a Christmas advert. It's just got that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling about it. Despite being a ballad, I find it a very joyful song, even though it's not up-tempo and upbeat, which seems strange, but just from the melody and the words, it just, for me, is a very happy sounding song, if that makes sense. And it's just beautiful to listen to, I think.
Yeah. Jorge, were you nervous about this one?
No, actually, I don't know why. I had read a little bit about it. I tried to stay away from reading too much about the songs, but I did read a little bit about it, and people said that it was very bare, not too many instruments, and sweet. So I wasn't nervous about this one. When I heard it, I instantly, like you, Andy, I hear the melody first. So I kind of heard the melody. I was not paying attention to the lyrics that much. I was just so into the melody. And it was so classical, it's such a classical, it reminds me of Bach. And I know that Benny is a fan of Bach. And so I can see that. It also reminded me of Benny's piano album, which came out in 2018, if I'm correct. So I loved it. I loved it instantly for that reason, and for the reason that you, Jess, and that you, Clara, loved it. It's a beautiful, sweet, tender thing.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm going to be a really, really bad ABBA fan. And there's, other than ABBA, I love kind of Christmas songs. And I almost wish that I didn't know this was a Christmas song before I heard it. Because I think the problem with that is I was expecting something else. And, people for decades have talked about what an ABBA Christmas song would sound like. And this wasn't it. So I think I'm annoyed with myself because I kind of had expectations around this one. That being said, it's a beautiful song. It's not overtly Christmas sounding, apart from, some of the references in the lyrics and the theme of the song, but the vocals, show like a vulnerability. I love when the kids come in at the end. It's very like I Have a Dream, isn't it? Similar. It almost feels like a little nod to that as well. And that's where I think ABBA have had fun with this album, because I think they've been throwing in things like this, kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, like Easter eggs, or those nods to the past. And there's another one that I know we will talk about later on. But yeah, not one of my favorites on the album, but still a beautiful, a really simple song. And this is another one. And what's very clever about ABBA with this album is I don't know if other people get this, but when you listen to the lyrics, I actually imagine myself in a story. And I find it very rare. And that's very clever by Bjorn and his lyric writing, because I'm visualizing the song, and I rarely do that with any other artist. And I find myself really doing it with this song. Yeah, it was beautiful.
And Andy, what were you expecting when you say, were you expecting kind of like a Happy New Year type, more Christmas?
No, not necessarily, because I love Christmas music, like Christmas songs, like the upbeat Christmas songs. Like I love All I Want for Christmas Is You, and just really I love sleigh bells, and it. I think because in my head that's what I was hoping it would be. Right. That's where I felt disappointed. I'm not disappointed because it's another ABBA song, which is still a nice song. I just wish I didn't know it was a Christmas song before I heard it. That's really all I can say about this, because I would have had no expectations, and I would probably appreciate it more for what it actually is.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I'm still hoping that maybe next year they'll come out with another Christmas song that maybe is kind of more in the vein of the Christmas songs that I like, but we will see. But anyway, we're going to move on to what has been a huge fan favorite, which is Don't Shut Me Down. So one of the two songs that was released in September, comes in fourth on this album. Jess, I'm going to go, this is your kind of song.
You would think that, but this is actually not one of my favorites from the album.
Wow. I'm surprised.
Literally shocked.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great track, very ABBA sounding. It's got everything going for it, but for my personal taste, I just find there's something missing and I can't connect with it very much. I don't know why.
Don't worry, we won't shut you down.
Might do.
I'm glad to hear that.
See what you think about the other songs.
But yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a very well-produced, well-written song. It's got a nice melody, but it's not really for me.
Jorge.
When I first heard it, I thought it was not intense enough. So, I saw it on the live stream as well. And then when it came on, I thought, I was expecting something like Chiquitita or Cassandra or something really intense, which I love of ABBA. But it grew on me so much, that catchy, beautiful chorus that just keeps, has like a crescendo, it grows. And it's interesting. I was reading, it's one of my favorites, by the way, but I was reading this analysis that this ABBA fan did on one of the Facebook groups, and he apparently knows a lot about music. He's from Ecuador, and he analyzed the song, and then I didn't realize that the song starts with a chorus, even though it's a toned down chorus. So when you hear a while ago, it's the same as the chorus, but it's toned down, of course, without the instruments and without the layering voices. I thought that was very interesting, and then he went into how complex the song is. And it was very interesting to see that. But I love it. I love the song.
Clara, I think this is maybe what some people were expecting it would be, an album full of songs like Don't Shut Me Down.
Yeah, definitely. And I will touch here on what you said about the songwriting and you being able to feel yourself in the scenery and visualizing the song. This was the song for me because it's a great storytelling, from the beginning to the end. And I love it has a little wink to Dancing Queen. There's a sequence where the piano, but then the saxophone goes in and it gives it a new layer of personality that is very attached to this song, and it was separated from Dancing Queen. But I really like the nod. I think it's what makes everyone's heart beat like, oh my god, and then it's like, no, but the saxophone. So it takes us to a different direction, which I think is very clever. And I think the chorus the lyrics are also directed to the fans, like I'm not the same as I used to be before, but like don't shoot us down, keep an open mind. So I like it. I like how for me this is an invitation for the fans to appreciate what they've done, invite them to the party, but telling them like, this is our party. Let us do our things. You are invited, but this is our party.
Yeah, and this was one of the songs. So I Still Have Faith in You and this song were both written especially for the show in London. So these two songs will be performed. Lyrics are very clever in that respect because it's talking about, I'm not the same, but there's references to kind of decoding, and so it is very clever lyric writing, and that's what Bjorn's great at, because he uses the most simple lyrics in the cleverest way, if that makes any sense. So I would think ABBA's lyrics are very simple lyrics. They're using simple words a lot of the time, but he does it so cleverly. There's nothing I can say about this. I think it's fantastic. It's one of the most upbeat songs. I think this will end up being most people's favourite on the album. A great track. And then we go into the third song, which was Just an Ocean, which is an old song. Jorge, about this song, for those that don't know about Just an Ocean.
Yeah, so this song, not many people knew about it except hardcore fans. I didn't even know about it until it came out in 1994 in ABBA Thank You for the Music, which is a box set. And it just a piece of it came out. It's called ABBA Undeleted, and it has all these demos in there and other rarities. And so there was a not big, but a medium piece of the song there, but it sounded unfinished, of course, because it was a demo. So they took it and re-recorded the back music, and Benny added this amazing piano that made it sound more like Waterloo.
I heard that. I heard Waterloo there.
Right, because the demo sounded very keyboardy, because they were originally going to put it on the Voulez-Vous. And Bjorn just recently said that he doesn't know why that song didn't go into Voulez-Vous, because he can't even remember why they didn't include it, because he thinks it's a really good song. And I agree, but anyway, the new one sounds much more like 1974, 1975 versus 1979. And I think it's great because it's such a joyful melody, and Benny adding that piano is just brilliant. I think it just sounds, I've heard some people say that it sounds like Jeff Lynne, ELO, a little bit. Others have said, there's been some comparisons to more rocky, and I see Waterloo in a new, very joyful song.
Yeah, actually, I never thought about Waterloo. For me, I was just thinking about I Do, because of the kind of the saxophone elements. I was going to say, guys in the live chat, can you let us know if you can hear us? Because I can see a comment from someone saying that they've lost sound, but I don't know if everyone has lost sound, because we can hear each other. Yes, thank you for the music. You can hear us. Thank you for the music.
When the moment,
I can hear us.
Video of them, in concert, they go into.
Courtney Hales, maybe if you just refresh the video, hopefully the sound will come back. And you can't hear me anyway, so I don't even know why I'm saying that. But maybe if someone can get Courtney to refresh the video so that he or she can hear us. But yeah, it's an early ABBA track for me. And yeah, exactly the year you said, 1975. It's not a late, and for me, it wouldn't fit on the Voulez-Vous album. I don't think.
No, I think that's why they did not include it. Because they wrote it then in '78, so it was supposed to go on that album, but it didn't sound like Voulez-Vous. And I think it was a good choice not to include it there. They could have maybe included it released it as a single, just like they did "Gimme Gimme Gimme" or "Summer Night City," which those two were. Singles included on their Greatest Hits Volume 2. They didn't belong to an album then. Of course, now they've included them in Voulez-Vous, but they were not part of Voulez-Vous.
Yeah, This is a song actually that I would love to see at the show as well. And Milo's got a really good question about this. How do we feel about the seamless retro vocals? So obviously, the vocals are the original vocals from the Voulez-Vous recording sessions, with the new vocals featured on other songs. I have to be totally honest, I don't notice it.
Me neither.
I noticed like a little. I noticed a little bit because in some vocals sounds more clear or better blended. And I don't think it's better blended. It's just like when you age, your voice changes a little bit. But I thank you for clarifying that it was that.
Yeah, but well, it is only this song that has the vocal. So you notice a difference between this and the other. If you were listening and you knew, but
yes, that's the last little part which they added. It's still in debate whether or not it's new because they haven't confirmed whether those vocals are new. It's just the last little words, and I at first I thought they were old, and now I think they're new, and I keep going back and forth. We would have to wait for a confirmation, Benny and Bjorn and them to say are they new or not, because they could have had them recorded, right? I think they sound like them now. Those the last two phrases,
I think so. And Jean Webb is also saying, hello, Jean, by the way, thank you for joining us. You think the vocals at the end on Just an Ocean are also new vocals? I think that's probably the consensus amongst the fans. And other than ABBA, who knows more than the fans? Eh? There's some fans that really do know a lot out there. I've experienced that on Facebook recently. So song number 6, and I'm just going to have to look at my list, which is another one that's been getting a lot of attention from people. And Jess, I think you like this one. It's I Can Be That Woman.
Yeah, so this is my favorite song from the album, just purely because of how beautiful and stunning the song is. It's got this very lovely, almost slightly haunting melody, I find, that's just kind of got these amazing, like, silky smooth vocals over the top of it. And it's like the song doesn't really build very much. It doesn't have like a big build like I Still Have Faith in You, for example, but it's still very pleasant to just listen to a very calming, relaxing kind of song that just draws me in, that I just love so much.
Clara, this is another example of kind of quite simple lyrics telling quite a deep story.
Yes, one of the things that drew me to this song is the storytelling and how it's about the dog at the beginning, or like you get the sense that it's talking about the like slicking and so on. And for me, this song like glided really nicely and effortlessly through my ears, and it was like, oh, it's already finished.
Yeah,
it went so quick.
Yeah, it goes back really quick.
Jorge, what about because this is an Agneta lead, I think, on this song.
Yes,
and for me, probably her best vocal performance, I think.
I could not believe her voice. I was listening to the album teary but not crying, and this song just made me cry because I don't know, like it's again very simple lyrics, but so true to life in a way, you know. In a relationship like that, it's so vivid, like the storytelling and her voice. I mean, her voice just, and the little parts where they sing together, it was just beautiful, stunning. I just started crying. That was what made me cry. Just like I Still Have Faith did that, but in this case, Agneta did it.
Yeah, no, it's a really beautiful track. I can't say it's one of my favorites, but I love the storytelling in this. I love Agneta's vocal performance, and it is just really beautiful. And I can see how so many people are getting quite emotionally attached to this song. Lots of people that are saying the story behind the song is quite real to them. So pair that with a really lovely melody, and of course people are going to have a real connection to this. Anyone surprised that ABBA has Screw You as a lyric? Yes, I was, and I did have to kind of listen again, thinking, is that what she? Because it sounds too rude to be coming out of their angelic mouths as well. I don't know. Did it surprise anyone else?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I just saw another comment from Rudy. Hey, Rudy, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. You can be that woman. I Can Be That Woman is also your favourite song. Ode to Freedom. So we will be talking about Ode to Freedom. I just saw someone confirming as well. Julian actually saying that Gorel Hansa has said that there was no new vocals recorded for Just an Ocean, apparently. So she was, I think, involved in the production.
So it's like I said, it's a complete dilemma because some fans are sure. Yorel said no, and she should know, but you know, I can't tell. I think right now, I think they're new.
Yeah, I do. But Julian's also making another good point. We don't know how many takes there were of the demo, so these might not be the exact same lyrics from the demo that we heard, in the 90s. So, this is going to be one of those things that people will never ever know, really. And we've had a lot of that from ABBA over the past 40 years. If I say Just Like That, then lots of ABBA fans are probably going to be gritting their teeth. But yeah, there's lots of things that we will just never know. Julian also saying hit my rock bottom was another odd line. Let's just say hello to Adrian Petrikovsky. Junior Eurovision starts very soon. We're doing videos about Junior Eurovision, but Jess, very quickly, for the sake of Adrian, what do you think about Sarah James' song?
Love her voice, love her song. Think she's a potential winner.
Yeah, but we are talking about the ABBA Voyage album, guys. So ABBA have released their first album in 40 years. If you're not watching us live, please do comment down below and let us know what your favourite song is, what you think of the album, how did you feel when you first listened to it. We'd love to hear your ABBA stories and what you're loving about this album. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That's very, very important. We'll have lots of news about Eurovision, ABBA, lots of different reaction videos, and go to our website. We've got a poll running there for your favourite song from the ABBA Voyage album. So please do go there and vote. We'd love to know what songs are your guys' favourites. So that's Eurovoxx.tv. But we're going to move on to the one that I was most intrigued about now, just because of the song title, and it is Keep an Eye on Dan. And we were all wondering who the hell is Dan. And it's for me a really interesting story again about kind of not even co-parenting, but the end of a relationship, a child is involved, shared custody. Really, really interesting. I'm going to come to you first, Jorge, on this one, because I'm sure you were intrigued about this.
I was. It was one of the biggest surprises of the album for me, in every sense, the way it was recorded. Really, really unique, yet ABBA sounding, unique for ABBA, but yet ABBA. I at one point when I was, I wasn't paying too much attention to the lyric because I was so into the music. And then when I started paying attention, I almost thought that Keep an Eye on Dan, she was telling her son to keep an eye on the husband, on the ex-husband. I thought at one point, how like the day before you came of ABBA there's a lot of theories out there of what it means, but in my opinion, I have my own opinion about that song. But anyway, Keep an Eye on Dan, I felt that. And then I've read them again, and I don't think so. But it could be. I just have to read them again. Imagine if she's really talking to her son or daughter and saying, Keep an eye on Dan, because she still cares. Because there's a part in the lyrics where she says, he looks thin or something like that, right? There's a part where she says he's looking thin, but I don't know if it's the son, the child, or the ex-husband.
I thought it was the ex-husband, because it was a strange journey for me, this one, because it did seem like it was all about the son, but then you go into kind of the love that she still has for the ex, and how she might want to make things work. So it's a story without an ending for me, really. But then you kind of similar in that way to Don't Shut Me Down. We don't really know what happened there either. Lots of ABBA cliffhangers on this album. But for me, one of the probably more modern sounding tracks. On first listen, the lyrics sounded a bit clumsy for me, but second listen, it all just works together so well. And it's, of all of the tracks, it's probably one of the darker ones, even though it's not really that dark. If you think about kind of albums like The Visitors and some of the songs on there, but you know, it was a nice turn in the album for me, and probably one of my favorite songs on this album. Clara, have you spoken about this one already?
No, I haven't. But for me, one of the masteries of this song is that the storytelling also is carried by the music. You know how it starts with this tension, this kind of music that's building a tension, and then it has the typical ABBA explosions like pa pa pa. And I think musically wise, this is a very interesting song because it has a really cool synthesizer solo, and it's a really different sound to the rest of the album. And I think it could work really well as a soundtrack too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jorge, we've got another little Easter egg at the end of this song.
Yes, the SOS part.
Yeah.
Yes, that was amazing. I think it shows that Benny and the group, the four of them, were having so much fun, and to take the freedom to just put that little piece of SOS to end the song. And I think maybe I'm overthinking this, but I mean SOS, it's like, keep an eye on, please, I need help, like keep an eye on that, SOS.
Yeah, well, I was, as soon as I heard SOS, I was thinking, at first I just heard the music and I was like, that sounds familiar. I'm like, that's an ABBA song. And then I'm really racking my brain trying to think, oh my God, which ABBA song was that? And then realised it's SOS. And then I'm looking at the song title thinking, oh, does K-A-E-O, no, what is it? K-A-E-O-D. And I was trying to work out if that meant something. I just thought like it's clever, but actually it's probably literally just Benny sat in the studio, playing along, added that on to the end and thought, oh, that sounds quite fun. And it's at that point that I knew that they're having a lot of fun with this, because that's exactly the sort of thing he would do, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's another little nod to the past, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Jess, did you talk about Keep an Eye on Dan?
I didn't, but I can.
Thank you.
I think this song sounds very 80s, and I feel like it would fit in with kind of their discography from the late 70s, early 80s. It kind of has a mysterious sound to it in the melody. And when I was listening to this, I was thinking this would be the perfect soundtrack to some kind of cop TV show, like about Finding Dan or something, It just kind of has like a thriller vibe to it, like suspense and thriller and action. And it's an interesting song that's very different to the rest of the album, but at the same time it does somehow work, because I feel like the whole album is just a mishmash of different sounds, but at the same time still that one unifying ABBA sound. If that makes sense. So it was a bit of a weird one for me to hear, because I wasn't expecting it, but I've grown to like it quite a lot.
Yeah, I like your comment, Rude. Do you think it needs a second listen before you could form an opinion? And it is very different to the other songs on the album. So I agree. It did take me a second listen, as did some of the other songs on here as well. They weren't all instant. I had to listen a second time.
What I really like about not just the song itself, but about them including it on this album and choosing it as one of the ones, is that it shows that ABBA could have done anything. I mean, this song is so creative, and so the way Jess, Clara, you have described it, it's right on, and it's fresh and it's unique and it's 80s at the same time. Those keyboards, I mean, they could have done the whole album in a keyboard very now way, but they stayed true to themselves in every song. They didn't go overboard with anything really. It's just having fun, and doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's really key as well, isn't it? Because there's been a lot of expectations of them, but this album isn't about producing something that's groundbreaking or,
Yes.
Trying to be something that's current or happening right now. And they've been very clear about that from the announcement in September. They're not listening to current trends. They're doing this trend blind. They're just doing what they're doing. And I think as fans and people, we can't ask them to do any more than what makes them happy, because it's their gift to us, you know, and it's a gift that we never thought we would get.
And honestly, it wouldn't make sense for them to listen to current trends, because they are the original source where these current trends drank from.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Well said. I love that. But guys, we're going to go on to Bumble Bee now, which is a very modern song in terms of the theme, because it's, you know, very, very simple lyrics, but really it's about climate change. What could be more powerful?
Yeah, for me, actually, this is one of the songs that didn't stand out so much, but I like that they take time, that the song invites to take time to appreciate the bumblebees, but it's also an invitation to slow down, because, you know, we live in a very fast-paced society. So ABBA took a step back, and like the members were living in like very natural environments. So I think it's a great reflection of probably their own mental process, and like coming together to actually make a song out of climate change. I think it's very childlike. I don't want to say childlike, but it's like a song that children can really appreciate. For me, this is more like directed to a specific audience, not like a whole adult audience.
Yeah, for me, it was a lullaby. Really,
Yes.
that's kind of how I had it. Yes, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I would agree. It's a very simplistic sort of song, maybe not the most adult sounding song. A very kind of gentle lullaby-ish kind of song. It sounds beautiful, it sounds lovely, and I love the song. I feel like there's just not much to the song, and it's just a bit kind of like on the same wavelength that doesn't really go anywhere, gets a bit monotonous after a while. But yeah, it's a nice, pleasant song to listen to. It's got a lovely message behind it, but not really much else, in my opinion.
Jorge.
This is another one of those that I could see as a classical piece based on the melody. It's a very simple classical notes, you know, but beautiful. And I was actually moved very much by how well preserved Frida's voice is. I was blown away on this one. She sounds great, and Agneta sounds great, but this one, since it's so bare, I could just hear everything, and the voice is like amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the key things on this album as well, that they've not tried to hide the aging of their voices, and that's what I really love. And again, I think it's one of the things that people want them to hear, like they sounded, you know, want them to sound like they sounded like 40 years ago. I don't want that, because we've had that. You know, this journey is this album is about a journey from then to now, and if we didn't hear that change in their voices, I don't think I would be as happy with this album as I am. And this is the one where you can really hear that vulnerability, like you did with Agneta's in yes. And I just think it's a beautiful, really simple vocal performance. I get why people maybe, you know, this isn't a standout song for them. Maybe it does sound a bit childish, but I think, you know, it is probably the simplest song on the album. But, you know, we used to get some of those on ABBA albums, didn't we? You know, I think of songs like An Angel Passing Through My Room, you know, and that's what this reminds me of in a weird kind of way. Just a really simple kind of, you know, I know it's not the end of the album, but yeah, a little gem for me.
I totally agree, Andy, with the Like an Angel Passing Through My Room comparison. And I could have seen Benny writing this song in 1981 for the Visitors and producing it more dark, of course, because the Visitors was so much more dark and more gloomy, like an Angel Passing Through My Room, you know, and it would have sounded like a completely different song. But the melody is there, is what I think. You know, the melody is very classical and very beautiful.
I can see this song being covered by a choir, and like different sectors of the choir doing different harmonies.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting, actually, because obviously we had like the kids choir and little things. I wonder how that would have sounded in this song. We will never know. But we're going to move on to, like, literally was a punch in the face for me, this song, because it was, you know, after Bumble Bee, then all of a sudden it's like, and kind of by this point, I thought we were just going to be sticking with slow songs for the rest of the album, and then we got No Doubt About It. And Jorge, I want to come to you on this one first of all and see what you thought.
That was another shock for me. Yeah, it was. It sounds like so 80s to me.
Yeah,
and it sounds like it should have been in a movie, and like a, you know, like a happy part, or like a very active part of the movie, or at the end of the movie, in the, you know, when the movie ends. It's a very soundtracky song to me, and but very catchy and very 80s. Just very surprised how much. I mean, if I heard it and I didn't know any better, I would have thought, okay, this is an 80s song. It wasn't recorded now.
I feel like this is, in my head, this is a song where they had the most fun.
Yes.
Recording it. And Clara, let me come to you on No Doubt About It. What did you think?
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite songs in the album because it's so unexpected. And I think, like, sound-wise, for me, it's just a mixture of like rock and this Western banjo kind of moment in the intro that I found super interesting. And it's a sound that I'm unfamiliar with when it comes to ABBA. So I think they had a lot of fun exploring this kind of avenue.
And go on, Jess.
This, along with Keep an Eye on Dan, this probably surprised me the most because it's got a very, very different sound to everything else on the album. And it kind of sounds almost kind of like country and western, like Clara said. This kind of poppy, rocky country song, which I would never have associated with ABBA, but it just goes to prove that they can literally do anything in any style, in any genre. I love kind of the upbeatness of this song and how kind of fun and happy it sounds, but I'm just confused by the kind of country sound. I still can't quite make up my mind on the song. It just seems like it shouldn't be an ABBA song, but at the same time they do it so well. It's weird.
I see, with this album, I do also think it's Benny and Bjorn doing a few things that maybe they'd thought about doing previously but had never done when ABBA were around first time. And maybe they wanted to try a kind of country and western sounding song, so they've done it on here. And that's where I think they've had real fun with this album as well, because, you know, a Christmas song might be something they thought about doing when ABBA was around previously, never got around to it, and now they've done it, so they can say that they've done it. Julian is saying, No Doubt About It is the only song you don't know where you are. And Rudy, you're saying that it's a moving song, catching up to it, and makes you dance when you first listen to it. That's what I mean when I say punch in the face. It's like, bam, you know, we're not expecting a big song towards the end of the album. I think we always expect it to kind of tail off a bit. But yeah, absolutely love this one. And this is one I think I would love to see footage of them recording in the studio.
Yeah.
I just think they would be loving it. I'd love to see Agneta and Frida kind of really loving recording this.
Yes.
And then we come on to Freedom, so the final track on the album, and lots of people have kind of called this a swan song.
Oh yeah.
ABBA have come out publicly and said that there will be no more new music after this, and that they will be retiring. We will always live in hope. But you know, this potentially is the goodbye to fans and to the world in terms of recording music. And I'm going to go first with this one actually, because I absolutely freaking love it. For me, it's just stunning. It's emotional, musically. It's simple, just beautiful. It makes the hairs on your arms stand up. The voices again, the vocals are showing some vulnerability. And I saw someone online describe this as maybe not a swan song, but as a cliffhanger. It still doesn't feel like it's quite final. But yeah, it was beautiful. Yes, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful song, both lyrically and musically. It does very much sound like a classical piece. And for me, it's just the perfect way to end the album, because we've obviously started with a very kind of slow ballad, kind of quiet song, and then we're ending with something similar as well. But I do wonder whether kind of Ode to Freedom could mean that it's kind of like their freedom, like they're away from ABBA, ABBA's finishing for good, now they have their freedom perhaps. I don't want to think that, because I just want ABBA to never finish ever, but I do wonder what that means for the future of ABBA, with it being the last song.
Yes.
Yeah, so I can just see a comment about some feedback from technical difficulties tonight. Jorge, I don't know if you've got earphones, but it might be coming your end.
You can hear me well, or do you think I'm interfering?
We can hear feedback your end, so I think you might, if you put earphones in, if you've got them.
I don't have them nearby, but yeah, I could get them. So go on. I can get them.
Okay.
Yeah, Clara, Ode to Freedom.
Ode to Freedom. Did you just call it a swan song?
Yeah, well, that's how it's been. That's how.
Yeah,
it's been, right.
you know why? Because it reminds. There's a song in the Swan Lake. There's a piece in the Swan Lake that is very similar to the intro. And I was like, oh my god, this is like the Swan Lake, but like with a little bit of mix to it. So I love that. Maybe that's a conspiracy theory, but that's my conspiracy theory. And I like it so much. It's very anthemic. It's great. And I really like how the low vocals blend very well with the high vocals, and it makes it feel like there's like a room full of people. Oh yes, that's better. Thank you, Jorge.
It's much better. Thank you, Jorge.
Yeah. And I really like how it's full of people. It makes it sound like it's full of people, and it makes it sound like so grandiose.
Jorge, I have to come to you now to see what you thought of this, because I have a feeling your expectations on this were maybe higher than some of the other songs, but it is the closing song, and the closing song on ABBA albums before always tended to be very special.
Yes, exactly. Like an angel passing through my room, the way all friends do. Yes. Well, you know, my expectations, I didn't really have expectations this time for ABBA. You know, and they were all exceeded, I think, actually. This one the most. This song to me is everything that I always have loved about ABBA. The classical influence, the chorus, the melancholy, the sadness but happiness at the same time. I mean, it's the perfect song of ABBA, and it's my favorite so far. Yeah, it's I would say, it's dare to say it's a masterpiece, and I think I've seen some comments there saying that as well. You know, and I love it. I love it. I can't say enough about this song.
Yeah, it is an absolute masterpiece. Just the vocals again are stunning. I think my favorite part of the song is the beginning, because it's almost like a mini journey before the vocals come in, and you're actually left, because you know we have had a couple of kind of instrumental ABBA songs in the past, and I was actually thinking that this was going to be another one, because it took quite a time for the vocals to come in, and part of me is really like just waiting for those vocals to come in, and then part of me is thinking, oh, this is going to be a beautiful instrumental, but it just all worked together so well. And I did feel emotional, because I knew it was potentially the last new song I was ever going to hear from ABBA. I mean, you know, a few years ago, I never thought I was going to hear a new song by ABBA. So I've been very, very, very spoiled, as we all have, with this new album. But yeah, I can see, Courtney, you're calling it a masterpiece as well. And yeah, there's been some really nice comments about this song. So guys, if it is your favorite, go and vote in our poll on our website, Eurovoxx.tv, and let's try and get it up to the top. But yeah, it's the perfect end. But I get what people mean by a cliffhanger. It still feels like there's a little bit more of something that we're gonna get. It doesn't quite feel like the end, and I don't know if that's just wishful thinking. But wow, well, guys, we've done it. We've gone through the 10 tracks. If I had to go to you and ask you for your absolute favorite on this, and I'm going to ask you guys in the live chat and in the comments down below if you're not watching us live to let us know. Lots more new people joining us in the live. I'm just going to quickly say hello to Interactive DNA. We've got Gribe 63. We've got Always Music. You're talking about Frida's belting notes, in no doubt about it, and also Klaus Blickfeld. Sorry if I just butchered your name. Justin Ocean and Bumble Bees brought you to tears. First one because they were back to good form. Second because of the lyrics. But yeah, guys, if you had to pick just one song, and it's so difficult, I know. I might
from the album or from all of ABBA?
From the album.
Yes, please make it easy, Jess. No doubt about it, because I had just so much fun listening to it and being constantly surprised. And through the whole 3 or 4 minutes that this track is going on, I was like, oh, and this, and this. So that would be mine for me because of the surprise.
Jess.
Mine is I Can Be That Woman.
Jorge.
Mine is a tie, but I'll just say one of them.
You can say both. Say both.
Okay, thank you. Ode to Freedom and I Still Have Faith in You.
Oh, I've kind of got 3 now. I really don't know. I'm at this moment in time, I'm going to say When You Dance With Me, just because I've had it on repeat all day, and it just makes me feel really happy. We've also got some favorites. We've got Randy. Hey, Randy, your favorite is Ode to Freedom. Klaus, you're picking Bumble Bee. Rudy, you're picking Ode to Freedom as well. We've got Frank Joy in the live. You're picking I Can Be That Woman. So you're with Jess on that one. That's your favorite. Rudy also saying you love Voyage so much, top class. Timeless is the word for this album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You've hit the nail on the head, Rudy. Thank you for the music. You're saying still blows your mind, a new ABBA album, 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys, but it's a weird feeling because it just feels weird talking about a new ABBA album. I don't know, it still feels like it's not happened. And even I was looking on, when you play music on your car stereo and on the screen it says it has a little picture of the cover and the name of the artist and the song. And for 30 plus years, without revealing how old I actually am, for 30 plus years, I've had a huge back catalogue of songs, but it's weird looking on my screen in the car and seeing these new song titles with the word ABBA next to it. It's just an amazing feeling, and it's going to take a little while to process. I think.
I feel the same. I took pictures of the car.
Yeah.
True ABBA fans.
Well, because there's no time when we've been listening to ABBA, we've not thought, I would love to hear a new ABBA song. Or we've got Superstar 68. You're saying you love Keep an Eye on Dan. This is what I love about this, and it shows a real variety, how so many people have got different favorites.
I think also ABBA did a great job at putting everyone's favorite kind of music style in the same album. So this album is for sure going to be a success.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally within an hour or even shorter period. It was at number 1 on iTunes in about 50 plus countries around the world. Like, the world has gone crazy for this return. And I've heard, I don't know how nervous ABBA were about this release, but I'm sure there must be some nerves after 40 years. I
think Bjorn. I think Bjorn was really nervous. He's the one that expressed it, right? Because and on the interviews, I've noticed how Benny is very relaxed. Actually, he's such a he kind of just feels so comfortable about the whole thing. I think so. I think it would vary among members, but I can see Bjorn being very nervous. Yeah,
and you think, I hope that from this they change their mind and they don't retire. But I mean, everyone needs to retire at some point, I guess. Julian, you're saying Don't Shut Me Down, I think, is your favorite. Let's have a look. You're saying filled with references to previous work from Dancing Queen to even Christina for the riff. Sarah O'Halloran, you're loving Bumble Bees. Courtney, yes, we are so lucky to share this. And, you know, I'm a big Eurovision fan. I'm a big ABBA fan. And what's been really interesting for me is I've seen lots of similarities between the ABBA fandom and the Eurovision fandom. Lots of kind of high expectations and some negativity. And we should just be enjoying this because no one was expecting this. And for me, when I listened to this album in the early hours of this morning, I actually forgot about COVID and the pandemic, and I didn't remember how old I was. And it was, you know, it just feels like this is what the world needs. You might not be an ABBA fan, you know, you might not like their music, but this is exactly what the world needs. And look how happy it's made us, you know. So I think people just need to be, you know, thankful that this has happened because ABBA don't owe us anything, and they, you know, they never have. But I feel that this album has not only been done for them, but I feel that they've done this as a gift to the fans, and I really think that's the only reason this album has been done. I don't think they've done it because they just want to get together and make a new album. You know, I think they really enjoyed the process of making the two songs that were intended for the tour. But I do really feel like this has been done for the fans because this is what we've been asking for decades. So I'm not going to criticize that. I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to be negative. I'm just going to be thankful and
for the music.
Yeah, and share the joy. This is their gift.
I just want to share. Sorry, share the joy.
I don't know how you feel about that, Jorge. You know, being a big ABBA fan and being involved in the community.
How I feel about what specifically?
Just kind of they have done this album for the fans, almost like a thank you.
I feel exactly that way. There's no way that there was for any other reason. I mean, like they've explained, you know, they wrote the two songs for the show because they felt like if they had done a concert, they would record a couple of new songs. That's what they did, and then it was fun in the studio, and they must have thought, why not? And with all the motivation, reading everything throughout the years, the letters from the fans, the love from the fans coming from all over the place, they must have, especially Frida, I think, who's always been very concerned about the fans. I mean, she must have said, you know, we must do this out. Why don't we just do another album? You know, let's just do more songs. You know, someone out there actually found a quote from Frida from 1994. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong out there, but she basically said when they asked her in 1994, "Will ABBA do another album?" You know, that question came up all the time, and she said that year, I think so, because we owe the fans that. We never split, and we owe them that, and we have everything we are as ABBA, we owe it to them. So she always, I think, felt in her heart that there was going to be one more. And I think when Agnetha did the 2013 album A, it was obvious to her that she could sing, because she was always the one concerned about her voice. And when she heard, I mean, that album, she sounds great. And so I think it also gave her that confidence that, you know, if we do something with ABBA, because it was only, if you think about it, from 13 to 17, when they started talking about it, it's only 4 years. And so she probably was still in that mode where, oh, you know, I can still sing very well. Why not?
Mm. Yeah. And the thing about ABBA is there was never any official split, was there? In
right.
In 1980, I think 1982, wasn't it? And so it always left something open, and it almost feels like this is what they're doing to close it off. Now, you know, we thank you for your dedication for the past 50 years. You know, here's the album that you've been wanting so much. Ode to Freedom, you know, a beautiful song to kind of close that chapter. Here's the digital show, which will go on for years and years and years and years as our legacy. So it's literally, it does feel like closing everything off for me. And it makes me sad and happy at the same time, because as a fan, I feel like I've got some closure now, and I don't feel like I'm always going to have that what if, you know, wouldn't it be great if. I feel like I'm not going to have that. Of course, there'll always be a little bit more hope that we will get another album in the future. And I saw something in another interview that someone had posted today where, you know, Benny had said, no, this is it. But, you know, there's 4 of us. And if the other 3 were to twist my arm, he's naughty by saying because, yes, you know, it just makes us think, oh, you know, but I think we can be really, really happy with this album. I think it's a beautiful gift at a difficult time. And yeah, any other comments about the album as a whole, guys?
I think it summarizes very well their whole career, because you can pick elements from this era, from this era, from this era. So it's a very beautiful way to wrap it all up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Julian as well, saying that, yes, Benny did say in an interview, the girls could always twist his arm. My impression was that the girls have always had to have their arms twisted. So I think that's final enough then, Benny, if you're saying you're not going to do another one. And Klaus is also saying about the split, the Eagles said at their comeback show, and I quote, "We never split up, we just had a long vacation." Yes.
Same with Vanilla Ninja. We got an album 15 years later.
Courtney, you're saying it's been the perfect gift. Thank you for the music. You're saying they've delivered more than we can ever ask for. Yes. The fact that we were going to get 2 new songs in itself was amazing. You know, we couldn't have asked for more. Sam Tan, Michael Tretto's touch is missed. So, of course, Michael Tretto, part of the reason, one of the, I don't know what word to use, you know, kind of was part of making the ABBA sound initially, Jorge.
I think I've seen that comment from a lot of the fans in forums and different places. I tend to agree. There's, you know, I think ABBA is a new ABBA now, right? So that includes not being, unfortunately, Michael Tretto not being part of it. But so I'm used to the new ABBA, you know, and it sounds great. But yeah, it doesn't. The production, there's something there in the engineering that is not that perhaps extreme layering of voices, perfection in different areas of the engineering. I don't hear that, but it may be on purpose, because I think going back to one of the songs on this album, on Voyage, you know, I think they have proven that they can do anything. And I think Benny, if he wanted the album to sound very crisp and very perfected and the voices manipulated, he would have done that. I think we some of us miss Michael Tretto in our hearts or our minds, because we don't hear that type of production from before, even in Just an Ocean. Mm-hmm. So Just an Ocean sounds very fitting for Voyage. You know, it's I don't want to say acoustic, but it's more of a natural sound that ABBA has now. It's not as I don't like that word, but it's not as perfectly manufactured to sound perfect. And I think even Benny said some comments about that, where he's more natural. He talked about new acts and how they, in his opinion, produce everything to death, and it sounds really, really perfect. But I don't think he wanted to go that route. I think he could have if he wanted to. So it's just another side of the coin about Michael Tretto.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they didn't. That this isn't polished. It's polished in a way, but not polished as a lot of people would expect it. And like I said, I love hearing the shaky parts in the vocals now, because you know these guys are in their 70s. I think Frida's coming up to 76, Agneta is 71, and it's, you know, it's just perfect to hear their voices. Almost feels like it's stripped back. I mean, there's some great production on this album, but it still feels stripped back. And I think that's what you would expect for people at their time in their lives. And if we want dancing queens and Chiquititas and Mamma Mia's, we've got it already.
Yes.
You know, and it's been the soundtrack to our lives, and now we've got this beautiful album, which for me is kind of closure to a lot. But still, knowing that we can go and watch ABBA from kind of 1979 now in the Voyage live show. So the legacy is there. But yeah, you know, he was such a big part of the ABBA story and the ABBA sound that I can completely understand why people might be disappointed, you know, not to see his touch or live.
And I think a good point to bring up is ABBA always changed within each album significantly, even though we may not realize that. Because if you take the album and then you go to Voulez-Vous, I mean, it's completely another world. And there must have been a lot of fans in '79 that were hesitant about the sound. Some of you may not know that some of those songs were remixed in Miami, which is where I am. But, you know, they sent the tapes here, and they were here and in the Bahamas. I think they were remixed, well, engineered, whatever they did to them. But so when fans heard Voulez-Vous after the album, the sound was more disco, except for Chiquitita and I Have a Dream, and Does Your Mother Know, which was Rocky. You know, the album was very disco, and fans must have been like, what is this? And then you go to Super Trooper, which is kind of back to ABBA pop, perfect, just regular pop ABBA. And then you go to The Visitors. I mean, I was shocked when I heard Like an Angel Passing Through My Room. I was shocked when I heard The Visitors, which was so, you know, new wave and dark and amazing and dancey, but not disco, you know. So they always have done this. But yeah. I find Voyage very cohesive. You know, every song sounds like Voyage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I completely get that. And, you know, the albums that we'd had before, ABBA always kept, you know, Benny and Bjorn always kept their foot on the, you know, kept their ear to the ground. They knew what was going on in the scene, which is why we got disco influence albums, which is why we got more 80s influence albums like Super Trooper. You know, the Visitors was dark, but we know that was becoming a bit more of an unhappy time in the group as well, and they were becoming more mature. And you think if you had an album that fitted the time now, we would have, you know, ABBA doing grime music or dance music, you know, and it's not going to work. But at the same time, if they were doing something that was trying to sound like 1970s or early 1980s, again, it wouldn't work for now. So what they've done is they've done something timeless and stripped back, and for me it just works. And, you know, this album will sound, you know, maybe it doesn't sound fresh to people, and I can understand that as well, but it will still sound as great in 2 years' time as it does today, and that's what makes it timeless. For me. I was going to pull out some comments. We've got some other people saying the songs that they're loving. We've got another view. Hello to you. You're saying Little Things is reminiscent of Like an Angel Passing Through My Room. Oh, interesting, because we said that about Bumble Bee, didn't we? Yeah. We've got Scott Peacock. You're saying you love the new ABBA album. Ode to Freedom is your favourite ending to ABBA Voyage. Great to have them back. Haley Fern, how you doing? Happy Bonfire Night to you too. We've got M. Manek. You're saying Agneta is great on I Can Be That Woman. The best songs like this one, Don't Shut Me Down and Keep an Eye on Dan, are given to her. So you like that those songs have been given to Agneta to sing. Doro Jesse as well. Keep an Eye on Dan is your favourite. I think Klaus, you're saying anyone here can listen to The Winner Takes It All without a tear in their eye. For me, one of their most emotional songs to listen to. That, and I Still Have Faith in You now, because I don't know, it's still. I remember when I was watching the video. The video for that song is perfect. It literally captures so many different emotions. Whoever put that video together is a genius. Rudy is asking, have we heard the orchestral version of I Still Have Faith in You? Is this the version? Is this Jorge? You might know. Is this? I know Benny did a piece of music for a movie, and the melody from I Still Have Faith in You is that piece of music. I might be talking rubbish here.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, I haven't researched that part of that. I did not want to hear any sort of melody that you know, before I heard the songs, and so I haven't. But I know it's from, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody out there, I think it's from Circlen, which is a movie, a Swedish movie, and that's what fans are saying, that there's a little piece from that in the melody.
Alexander, Under Attack is so underrated. I think that was the last proper single that they released, I think, in the 80s. If you haven't heard it, one to go back and listen to. Sam Tan is asking, do we think Little Things could be a Christmas hit? Personally, no. I don't think it would be a big Christmas hit.
Yeah, I don't think it's attractive to the general public.
Yeah. I think, guys, we're going to have to leave it because we've been on here far too long already. Almost an hour and a half. I can't believe that, but so many good things to talk about. Guys, in the comments, we've loved seeing your comments and hearing your stories and how these songs have made you feel and what you've loved about this album. If you're not watching live, please keep commenting down below under the video and make sure you subscribe, guys. It's been really fun to catch up with you all today. And I have to say, from me and the girls as well, huge thank you to Courtney for joining us today as well. It's been
pleasure.
Great to get your insight, especially as a huge ABBA fan as you are. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. It was a great pleasure.
Yeah, no, we've really enjoyed it. So guys, we will leave it there. We're all probably going to go back and start listening to ABBA again. So until next time, guys, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.